This coming Sunday, it's the annual AEIOU Take a Hike. It is a fundraiser for the organisation, which is still the only early intervention centre for kids with autism that's open here in Toowoomba. And some incredible stories come out of AEIOU. There are families who have moved interstate. There are families that have moved from places further afield to Toowoomba just so that their kids who have been diagnosed as being on the autistic spectrum can attend there and get that crucial early intervention. My two kids went there going back quite a few years now, and I had to sort of do the calculations as I was driving there yesterday. I think it was about 16 years ago. And to tell you what, not a lot has changed. The staff that are still there from when my kids were there just seem like old friends. And all the staff there at AEIOU absolutely love their job. It's always been that way. I had sat down and had a chat to one of the relatively new staff members. She's only been there since 2019, Theresa Potter, about what AEIOU does and why it's worthy of your fundraising efforts. This place really does change lives. It truly does. Were you aware of that when you started working here?
Actually, no, I wasn't aware of AEIOU. I had a friend that suggested I apply here. I'd always worked in mainstream and I was just getting a little bit bored with the whole mainstream thing for myself, and I needed a challenge, and they suggested that I come here and apply for a job, and yeah, the rest is history.
What is your role here at AEIOU?
I'm currently a room leader, so I'm responsible for sending out letters to parents, doing our NET program time, which is naturalistic teaching, which is very similar to mainstream childcare. So I do that program. It runs several times a day in between therapy. And I'm also responsible for delivering the therapy program to the children. The therapy program is designed by a therapist, and then they put together a program that we implement and run in the classroom.
When children are first enrolled here, how does AEIOU, all of the staff, work out what each child needs? Because each child's needs are vastly different. What's the procedure when a child first comes here?
That the children have, whether they can play functionally, whether they like trains, if they like playing with Play-Doh or paint, just finding where their interests are, what they can already do. So can they play with ring stackers? Can they copy us when we play with trains or dolls and things like that? Then the therapist will put out assessments for us, and we will just collect baseline data. So how they transition to toilets, whether they like sunscreen, things like that, what they play with outside. And we collect all of this information, and then the therapists use that to develop their programs.
So there's no one size fits all, really. And I guess to dispel the myth that people outside of here, or people who don't have children with autism or don't know any children with autism might have, which is it's just another condition and there's a handful of treatments and this is what you do. Autism is not like that at all.
No, it's not like that at all. It's individualized. Everybody's going to need different therapy. Everyone's going to need different programs. Everyone comes with different skill sets. So we have to figure out what each child has, what they need to progress further, and we go from there. So everyone is very different. It's a very individualized program.
So essentially at the end of their time here, whether that be 1 year or 2 years, what is the main thing that you want to achieve when they walk out the door and go on to school and the rest of their lives?
It's really hard to sum it up because, again, each child's individual. So it's just for the child to be the best version of themselves. For us to have opened the world up as much as we can, for them to have given them those skills that they can go into the world with, that will help. And every child is different. Some children will achieve or get further than other children, but it doesn't mean to say that they're not learning and they're not growing. Some children have small achievements and other children make great big jumps. So everyone's different and we don't know.
I guess also throughout the year or the 2 years, I mean, we're talking about they get to the end of their time here and you see what they've achieved and celebrate or whatever, but I guess you see those little achievements every day, every week. How does it feel when you see that what you're doing here is actually making an impact? What does that feel like?
When we see the children achieve a goal, whether it's a small little goal like putting a chip into a toy, or if it is achieving being toilet trained, we celebrate those little marks and the staff get very excited and we do a lot of cheering. So yeah, it's exciting for them and for us, although sometimes they don't know what we're cheering about, but we're excited.
Do you tell them, or is it too hard to explain?
Oh, we do. We acknowledge what it is that they've done well. But yeah, sometimes they think that their teachers have just gotten a little crazy. But
You let them run with that.
Yeah.
I suppose unlike kindergarten or any conventional early childhood place, what goes on here and the work that you do is as much with the parents as the kids. Tell me about that. Why is it important that you have a relationship and are able to help the parents as well as the kids?
Because if we help the parents, we're also helping the child. If we help their extended family, we can teach them how to interact with their child, how to better help their child achieve things, how to break down small goals so it's more achievable for the child. And it's about the continuity too, so that we do the same here and we teach the parents how to follow through and do the same at home, so there's no break in their learning. That is very helpful when it's coming to independence and self-help skills, toileting, looking after their own belongings, just making choices about what they would like to do in the afternoon or what they would like to eat. So some of these are skills that we can teach the parents how to work with their child.
Does anything stand out to either of you as the best bit of feedback that you've got from parents who have enrolled their child here?
Look, we do hear often that parents go, oh wow, we didn't know our little child could do such a thing. They are shocked at times when some of the children start having conversations with them, if that is their skill set. You've helped us to be a family again, so it's really rewarding. And we do know that some of the families, they're struggling because they just don't have the skill set, or they haven't been able to get into their little child's world, and that's really, really sad. Yep. We want to ensure that the children have the best opportunities they possibly can, because we don't know what they're going to be in their life. So we want to expand that as much as possible.
Have the methods of early intervention changed substantially over the years since we've realised that early intervention is vital to set a child with autism up for the best life possible? But have the methods changed?
Our methods are always being looked at. Research is telling us different ways to do things. We have a research centre for AEIOU that keeps us informed of the current methods. We have our own curriculum that ensures that we teach accordingly, that the children are being given the expertise they need to learn. And yes, we are learning all the time. As practitioners, we are learning to make sure our research is current. We want to ensure that they get the very best opportunity whilst they're with us.
Theresa, Take a Hike is AEIOU's major fundraiser. How many times have you done it so far?
I think this will be either my third or fourth time. So I joined in 2019, so I think my first one would have been the following year. So this will be my third year. So I did my first one in 2020.
You're a veteran. What distance do you normally do?
I take the 5 kilometre one and I walk it.
Fair enough. More power to you. And tell me, how important is the fundraising side? Because I know when my two kids came through here, I guess the funding has changed quite a bit. So back then, I remember my mum helped us out. It was quite expensive. We had sold a house in Tasmania and hadn't bought a house up here, so we were able to use some of that money. It was a big expense. Now, I guess, with the NDIS, that must have made it easier. But is fundraising still essential to AEIOU doing what it does?
Very much. Fundraising also helps raise awareness for us, so more people know about us. There's awareness in the community for what we do, and it also gives us extra funds to help our children out, to buy more resources, to do some upgrades when we need them, to give them a newer playground or a better centre. We've just not long ago renovated our centre and now it's looking gorgeous and sparkling. It goes a long way. Every little bit goes towards helping our children and our families.
If anyone would like to come down and join us on Sunday morning, it's beautiful to walk around the grammar school there. The land is beautiful. There's going to be a lot of people dressed up. There's a 10 and 5 kilometre, and then there is a 1 kilometre for the 10-year-olds and under.
And some of the grammar boys go and run the whole thing, which is just showing off, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they are fabulous. They are supporting us beautifully. They are so keen to help us in our venture of raising funding. They come out and they say, "Hello, how are you? What can we do to help?" They're wonderful.
They compete in their teams and their sport teams, and they like to compete against each other.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. They're not competing against us mere mortals, they're competing in the superhero world.
So
You said that an aspect of fundraising, it's more than just fundraising, it's raising awareness that AEIOU is here. What would you like the people of Toowoomba to know about AEIOU? What message would you like to get out there?
we've been in the area now for over 15 years, and we still get people saying, "Oh, I never knew that you were here in Toowoomba." We are heavily supported with a lot of the paediatricians and doctors around in Toowoomba, which is absolutely amazing. But it's really awareness to know what we do. We are here for supports. Families can come and go on our wait list if they have a child that has a diagnosis. And look, we just want to make a difference in these little people's lives. It's so important. This early intervention is a priority.
I mean, the idea that there could be a family who have received that diagnosis but is not aware that this is an option is terrible, really, isn't it? I mean, that it's here and they can take advantage of it and make such a difference. Yeah, so getting that awareness out is great.
Look, Google us by all means, AEIOU Foundation. We'll be there. Go onto our website. You can ring the centre on 46363600, and I'm happy to have a chat to you at any time. So, come on down. Let us know if you need any assistance, and if we can help you, we will.
Yeah, that's AEIOU Toowoomba's Theresa Potter and the manager, Sandy Peachey, who's been there since my kids went through there 16 years ago. And the vibe is still the same. Take a Hike Toowoomba is happening Sunday, March the 12th. 3 courses, covers all levels of fitness. So it all takes place on the grounds of Toowoomba Grammar School. There's a 10K course, a 5K course, and if you're under 10, or if you just think 1K is maybe about all you can do, fair enough. That's available to you as well. All the money raised goes to support young kids with autism who are receiving vital early intervention therapy and care at AEIOU Foundations. When I came out from recording that story yesterday, I got 2 texts coincidentally which just hit home. One was from my youngest son saying, "Dad, can you pick me up from work today?" He's working part-time, which is something we never thought he would ever be able to do. And from my oldest son saying, "Hello, just making sure you're having a good day, love you lots." He's now an apprentice builder, which is, I don't know, back then, who knew which way things were going to go? And AEIOU was only 2 years of their lives, so it's hard to know how much of a difference that made compared to other things that happened in their lives since then. But there is absolutely no doubt that that early intervention is vital, and that's why AEIOU as an organisation is well worth you supporting fundraising-wise. So you take part in Take a Hike Toowoomba, or jump onto their website, do a Google search for Take a Hike Toowoomba, and sponsor someone who is doing one of those walks, and all that money goes to a fantastic cause. 9:23 on ABC Southern Queensland.